some sugar on me in the name of love. Hello friends, trace amounts of science. Today we're getting back into the Married Mary saga. Well, the Married Mary timeline. This is called Maple Walnut Pie. It features a new character. It was written by a good friend, user Cringy Val, and I think it fits into the Married Mary timeline, but I guess we're going to have to see as the video unfolds. Thanks so much for joining me. Let's go ahead and get this show on the road. Maple Walnut Pie. Kadillac Kirk had been a good friend of mine for several years. Well, I ain't never heard of him before. I met him through friends from the spring stage, and he never had anything to do with the imp, which is why he didn't appear in the Married Mary saga. Okay, now I'm putting the pieces together, thanks so much. Mary would have totally thrown herself at him, and Kirk definitely would have thrown it in her. He loved the ladies, and often remarked that there was no such thing as an unappealing woman, nor was there anything sweeter than finding the pearl of passion in an outwardly plain dame. Fortunately for Kirk, he'd not met Mary. This was probably fortunate for Mary as well, seeing as how Kirk was a confirmed bachelor, and his rakish nature might have broken her fat heart. Aw, you hate to see a fat girl cry, that's what I know.
Fat chicks need love too, but they gotta pay.
You see, to me, Kirk is just lazy. Like, you want a freak, but you don't want to be the one that turns her into a freak? That's weird to me, man. To each their own, I do suppose. So Kirk was an older guy, not like Mo type of old. And if you don't know who Mo is, watch the rest of the Married Mary saga playlist in the description. Kirk was in his early 40s, but he easily passed for a carefree dude in his 30s. Not that he lied about his age. I only mention this trait to juxtapose Kurt's genuine youthful air with Mo's unconvincing youthful farce. Kirk dressed normally, avoided stupid jargon, and never busted out gimmicks like tarot cards or spells. He just existed, behaved affably, and people liked him for it. I mean, he's playing a little fast and loose with the Wicked Willie, but I can't hate him for that, you know? It's all consensual. He seems at least moderately genuine so far. But this is labeled as a Neckbeard story, so I'm sure the turn will happen. He drove a classic 1962 Cadillac Eldorado convertible with a red leather interior. Oh, that sounds so sick. And he lived in a charmingly quaint and ridiculously expensive neighborhood. Yeah, probably could have told from the car. How he made his fortune remained a mystery, and he never bloviated about his wealth. He just threw spectacular parties, and of course, people showed up. And to my knowledge, he never tried to lure women into bed with his money, although I'm sure he got his fair share of boom-boom thanks to his digs and his wheels, even if the gold diggers did deny their monetary agenda. Which, in my experience, the best gold diggers always do. Nobody's ever gonna admit to that.
Now, I ain't saying she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke.
Kirk was legitimately handsome. He was a drummer, had a head full of black hair, he was clean-shaven, he worked out, and he knew all the hidden gems in Wellsprings. So why hadn't I tried, or even desired, to date him? Because he's playing fast and loose with the Wicked Willie. We went over this. I don't know. I just didn't feel drawn to him like that. He felt like a cool older cousin or some cool friend of my older brother's, and he had, thus far, never done anything to change my perception. Well, that's cool. Nice platonic relationship. Or is it? Plus, the age difference did weird me out a little. Kirk didn't look 40, but knowing that he had so much more life experience than I did created a power imbalance that would have creeped me out if we had been dating. As buddies, I just felt supremely cool, riding in his Cadillac, smoking Fantasia cigarettes, and hitting the speakeasies and the jazz clubs that I would have never known about if it wasn't for Kirk's connections. And I'm sure there's no ulterior motive, right? I'm sure he is just doing this as good buddies. You guys are all on the same page, right? Why aren't you saying right? And he had been a good person to talk to about my romantic woes. He never lecherously suggested that I should date him instead. And he did give me the type of tempered advice that really only comes with lived experience. The same type of advice that you get on the ReddX YouTube channel. Hey, you should let more people know about the channel. And how can you do that without even opening your mouth? Well, my shop over at Fourth Wall. Yes, indeed. Embroidered t-shirts, they're beautiful, they'll last forever. We even got a body pillow in there. It's not actually a full-size pillow, but it does have characters on it. Maybe I should remake it. Maybe it should be more of a bust thing. Anyways, I digress. Kirk did often lightly mock me for my crush on Dennis, and he did a hilarious impression of Smeagol popping too soon over his precious. So when Mary got me back by doing whatever she did with or to Dennis, I called Kadillac Kirk, and I told him the drinks were on me if he'd be my designated driver for the night. Oh, that's pretty good. That's like a catch-22. Like, I'll buy you drinks, but you can't drink too much. Because you've got to drive. Big brain plays. Why hadn't I called whiskey, says OP. Well, A, Kirk was way more fun to hang out with, at least from my past experiences up to that point, and B, I needed to bitch about a boy. Something that I couldn't do in good conscience in front of a guy that I was dating. So I put on the sexiest plunging halter dress that I own, applied heavy eye makeup and spiky accessories, braved a pair of stilettos, and sashayed out into Kirk's convertible. I felt like a badass rock star. I mean, yeah, sounds like it. You probably twisted some heads for real. Whether or not I actually looked as badass as I felt remains a mystery. Doesn't matter, you got the spiky bracelets. You can't tell me nothing when I'm wearing the spiky bracelets. To be clear, I wasn't dressed this way to impress Kirk. I've heard many women, even respectable ones like Dolly Parton, admit that either looking your best or changing your look illogically seems to help when you feel like you've been screwed over. Yeah, sometimes when I'm feeling really bad, I go out and buy an Armani shirt, and then I feel like everybody's looking at me. Truly, fashion does solve some problems, though. At least help to get your mind off of things. Unfortunately, I don't know from experience. I'm not a very fashionable man. NOP confirms this nonsense certainly helped me when I was younger. Now that I think of it, dolling myself up still contributes to lifting my spirits, even as an adultier adult, but it doesn't actually solve anything, does it? It doesn't hurt anything either. Well, I do take that back, actually, because it hurt my freaking feet. Yeah, but stilettos are part of the whole thing. Really, it's the eye makeup and spiky bracelets for me. I see all that, and I'm instantly like, my curiosity piqued. So Kirk does speak here. I'm just going to give him the Neckbeard voice, because I haven't quite got the vibe yet. Damn! Someone really did a number on you, huh? I know you said you were upset, but the gents are gonna be writing thank you notes to that fat girl and the butt-blasting hobbit. OP, I just need to feel pretty and numb. I trust you to keep me from making a fool of myself. Kirk squeezed my shoulder. I've got you. You do whatever you need to get rid of these demons. Nah, it doesn't work. I tried to drown my demons, but they know how to swim. He sparked up a J and offered me the first puff. I gladly accepted. He took one puff of his own, but said that the rest was for me since he didn't want to drive stoned. See? He was responsible. Gigglebush wasn't legal in California yet, so I surreptitiously got a little bit baked before I stashed the sativa in the glove box and wrapped a scarf around my hair like a starlet from the golden age of Hollywood. Kirk sped out of the parking lot and said he was taking me to a downtown hotel that was hosting a party in their lush lobby. Ah, yes, because as I understand it, after the party, it's the after party, and then after the after party, it's the hotel lobby. Have I got all that right? Cadillac Kirk pulled up to the main entrance, paid the valet, and then opened my door. I was a bit wobbly from the devil's lettuce, and I had stupidly decided to wear heels. You can either get high, or you can wear high heels. But you can't have both. I have no experience with high heels, but thanks for the pro tip. And you can't have both, especially if you've repeatedly injured both ankles, as I have. Dance-related injury, not intoxication-related injuries. I wish I had the same excuse, honestly. You guys want to see me jump all the way down these stairs and land on my side? As I was currently risking my first intoxication-related injury, I had to take Kirk's arm to keep myself from keeling over. "Can people tell that I'm stoned?" I whispered. Kirk replied, "Nobody's paying attention to anyone else's intoxication. I promise you that much." I mean, that's true. People often in their own little worlds. I nodded, steadied myself, and strutted alongside my very cool friend, feeling a little more confident. A live jazz orchestra was playing Cole Porter as we entered the lobby. Ooh, clashy joint, huh? Everything sparkled. The music was even more intoxicating than the spliff had been. Probably because of said spliff. Just one of those things brought tears to my eye, since the lyrics hit every raw nerve regarding the dentist debacle, but I smiled. It might sound mental, but being distraught over a trash fire of a one-sided romance was exhilarating. Immature, for sure, but also exhilarating. You see, that kind of sadness doesn't hurt. Not really. It stings, it leaves little bruises, but it's very safe to wallow in because you haven't actually lost anything. Melancholia over that, which you never had, is as sweet as it is bitter. And that type of twisted splendor is rivaled only by Stendhal. Now, I didn't know what the hell Stendhal was supposed to mean, so I looked it up, and apparently he's a 19th century French writer, but there's also a syndrome named after him. It's a psychosomatic condition. It's a psychosomatic condition that involves rapid heartbeat, dizzy spells, fainting, anxiety, and hallucinations. And what brings on this psychosomatic condition? Well, viewing much beautiful art at the same time. It's like meeting all of your heroes at once. So cool, yeah, great choice of words. We learned a little something today. Trace amounts of science. And there's also trace amounts of crooning, apparently. Here's hoping we meet now and then. It was great fun, but it was just one of those things. Ba 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 da 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 da. What a great choice of song. Thank you for allowing me to get my daily amount of crooning in. OP sings along with the band, and a fat tear rolls down past her melancholic smile and onto her chin. Kirk brushes it aside. Too close to home. I wiped away the remnants of the tear's journey from eye to chin and smiled a more genuine smile. The perfect distance from home, actually. Shall we get drinks? Remember, I'm buying. Oh, that's right. I'll take a hurricane and a zombie hurricane, and then adios, motherfucker. Kirk says, No, this is your time to heal, and I'm here as your pal, not your chauffeur. What would the lady like? I pretended to barf. Kirk knew I hated it when he got overly formal and overly attentive, so he did it just to mess with me. Shot of vodka, I replied. How many? I thought briefly. 5. Kirk. 5-1, baby. 1 in 5. OP. No one here gets out alive. Oh my god, it's a Doors reference. 5-1, baby. 1 in 5. No one here gets out alive. Yeah.
You get yours, baby. I'll get mine.
Love Jim Morrison. Jesus. There's never been a band before or since with like such a dark but hopeful vibe. The Doors are so cool. Anyway, Kirk says, are you able to hold yourself upright, or should I come with you? It seems like a nice gesture. He's playing the role of the attentive friend beautifully. I'm starting to halfway think that maybe I got him wrong using the Neckbeard voice. But then why else would we be reading the story? So I'm not going to doubt myself. It'll go tits up eventually.
Wait for it. Here it comes. Almost there.
I took a seat on the ornate damask upholstered Shea lounge and said, I'll be okay. And I was kidding about the 5 shots. I sat there, lost in the music for a while. I thought very little about Dennis, actually, and even less about Mary, and not at all about Whiskey, whom I had shagged now less than a week ago. Then what's going on up there, huh? Lights are on, but nobody's home, huh? That's okay. I like to feel numb sometimes, too. OP says instead, my mind danced through the ornate lighting in the hotel lobby, and I suddenly felt the need to join those hoity-toity guests on the dance floor. No think, only dance! Kirk returned with 4 smaller than average shots of vodka. 2 for him, 2 for me. And that was quite reasonable of him, I suppose. He knew damn well that I couldn't handle 5 shots, but he also knew that I was in a state. Yeah, that's what we'll call it. It's just a state. Oregon, Florida, California, mental imbalance. Just a state. This state called for more than a single shot, so I raised both my miniature glasses to no more ninny hammers or hairy-footed lovers. I don't actually know that lyric, if it's a Doors song or what, so instead, I'm gonna cut in some tartar control. And shout out to Ellington Moose. Fantastic commenter, makes me laugh all the time. Haven't seen him around as much lately, but he exposed me to this, and now I want to expose it to you. That band is defunct, by the way, which is a tragedy. Anyway, Kirk did his hilarious Schmiegel impression. We double toasted, and we downed the shots. The band launched into Let's Misbehave, and I kicked off my stilettos and made a beeline for the dance floor. Yeah, this could be a pretty nice, fun night, you know? But something in the back of my mind keeps telling me that Kirk's just waiting. He's gonna make his move. There's something wild about you, child, that's so contagious. Let's be outrageous. Let's misbehave. It's like some roaring 20s music. It's a classy pick. Had to look it up too. Cadillac Kirk swept me up and twirled me around and dipped me as we both sang along with the lyrics. I wasn't swooning for him, but I was enthralled by the moment. Yeah, you want to forget. But when one door closes, another door opens, and I guarantee Kirk's looking at this moment differently. I'm more and more convinced of that every second. The music, the dancing, the combination of the booze and bud, and it occurred to me that if we'd been performing on stage, this dance number would definitely end with a smooch. You know, whether it's movies or stage play, I don't think it's ever appropriate to judge your life by what would happen in this thing that you saw. If you actually want it, then I say, hey, go for it. But I can't want it just because I saw it in media. You know what I mean? To be clear, I 100% understand where OP's coming from. I just saw it as an opportunity for my own personal tangent. So anyway, I kissed Kirk as he pulled me back to my feet, and he kissed me back in a way that Dennis never had, in a way that Whiskey's beard wouldn't permit. I didn't feel the visceral sensations that I'd felt when Dennis had kissed me, but it felt nice to know that an attractive man thought that I was worth kissing. In front of people, no less. Yes. And especially when you're stoned and you feel like all the people are watching. Dennis had always treated me like a dirty little secret. And then I noticed that other guests were watching us and applauding. Now that was a dopamine rush if there ever was one. Yeah, it's kind of nice when everything bends to your will. Doesn't always happen, but complete strangers let you be the main character, and it really is a great feeling. It's what happened with this YouTube channel. I gently broke away from his embrace, however, and high-fived Kirk. God, that's awkward. It's physically painful. And I returned to the Shea Lounge to put my stupid shoes back on. Nobody stole your shoes? Out of the hotel lobby? Yeah, different times we're living in. He followed me and smashed his face back onto mine. I pulled away and laughed. It was a moment, I told him. I appreciate the dance, and the kiss was the perfect finale, but it's not happening again. I guess I can't understand how he would interpret this as mixed signals, right? That's why I had my little media rant about earlier. It's not a healthy way to live. Maybe I'm just too neurotic and always thinking 5 steps ahead. But I guess I have been swept away by the moment, especially in the early 20s, hormones swirling around and stuff. Whatever, at least I could say that the line in the sand has been made very clear, and when Kirk ends up violating it again, inevitably, I'm not gonna say, oh, he misunderstood, because it was clearly stated just now. Right, everybody? Okay, good. We're all on the same page then. Kirk says, not to worry, Valerie. I know you. I knew all along that we were performing, and I was more than happy to be your scene partner. OP, and dance partner. Those are some excellent moves. I didn't know you had ballroom training, Kirk. You name it, I've mastered it. Another drink for the lady? Yeah, that ego. Relentlessly peeking through, isn't it? I pretended to barf again. Not yet. I'm not sad right now. Do you mind if I just sit here and enjoy the music? Kirk, my kisses do have healing properties. Yeah, you are making it weird now, fella. I flipped my hand up at him and said, knock that shit off, bro. Good job. I wanted to hang out with you because I trust you not to get weird. Even if I get weird, I know you have the maturity to balance me out. Kirk, are you calling me old? OP, no. I'm calling you rational, responsible, respectful. Kirk, well now, if you can articulate an alliterative statement that fluently, then clearly you aren't drunk enough. I hope you do not drink too much tonight, OP, because it's not gonna go well. It's not gonna go well. I'm starting to get more than a little skeeved out here. I dismissed this comment as a joke, and he did indeed knock it off with the flirtation. We had a perfectly pleasant time, chatting and dancing. No more kissing, though. Yeah, that was a bit over the line, wasn't it? I understand, look at me now. It's fun to have fun, but you have to know how, said the cat in the hat to the fish in the pot. And it was then that I noticed a girl that I knew from Into the Woods entering the lobby. She'd played Florinda, and I played Little Red. I called her name and waved enthusiastically, and she waved back, and then her date entered. It was Dennis. I sank into the chaise. Kirk caught on immediately. The Hobbit, he asked, and I nodded silently. You want to make out again? He enthused. He's fucking relentless. I shook my head. I had to go say hello to Flo, and I had an idea. I crossed the lobby, smiled, squealed, and hugged her. Florinda, Little Red, it's been forever. So glad to see you. This is my friend, Denny. From the corner of my eye, I could see Dennis shifting uncomfortably. I refused to look directly at him, neglected to acknowledge Flo's introduction, and continued to converse only with her. That's good. Well played. Let him know his place, but we're also not violating the social contract. I'm so glad to see you, too. What have you been up to since we left the woods? Dennis, come on, OP. Florinda, appearing obliviousness to the iciness between Dennis and I. Oh, I had some drama after the show closed. I'll have to tell you about it some other time. Have you seen Prince Big Bad lately? She was referring to Scumbanger. And I laughed. Last I saw him, he was hitting on some fat, nasty chick at the Imp. Flo and I both scoffed at the pervy pest. Into the Woods was where I'd initially met Scumbanger. He played the wolf/Cinderella's prince. Again, typecasting. There's a whole essay in my brain about my first encounter with the pest, during which he quoted the song that he sang to me in the show, Hello, Little Girl, but it gets into some pretty uncomfortable territory because he made me feel excited. Well, excited and scared. That's right, they always like the bad boys. The The subtext of Hello Little Girl is like the intro song. I don't like that at all. The only little girls that I'm going to allow are the ones from Oingo Boingo.
I love little girls, they make me feel so good.
Gosh, it's a very musical episode today. I'm digging it. I thought that I was supposed to get all Twitter-pated over R-wordy situations because Jar Jar's dominatrix ex-fiancé had once explained to me that such things were ubiquitous turn-ons for young, vulnerable lasses. She'd cut her teeth on play R-word in the process of her own discovery, so I thought maybe I should try that approach, since nothing I'd tried up to that point had been even the slightest bit of fun. Oh, come on now. Who doesn't like a big meaty slip and slide? Why we gotta get all this other stuff involved? You gotta save that for a few years in when you really need the spice bag. Anyway. All those quote-unquote fantasies squicked me out, if I was being honest. So, having failed to fit in with the other young, vulnerable lasses who appropriately and allegedly entertained these R-word fantasies, I felt like I was finding something of a semblance of a proper feminine identity once I did find Scumbanger sexy. Even so, nothing of note happened during Into the Woods. But our odd interactions, both on stage and off, kind of set the tone for some extremely regrettable events during that cat's cast party. Yeah, like a bunch of cats in heat. But what do I know? I'm glad he helped you find yourself. Intimacy's a really awkward thing to navigate your first time around. Sorry if that discussion made anyone feel ill. I feel a bit ill having written it. I think Jar Jar and his dom might have messed me up. For what it's worth, Jar Jar eventually acknowledged that he had warped views on Boom Boom and that he'd gone after me when I was very young because he thought I'd be quote-unquote customizable. Dude, that's a... wow. What a choice of words. Like a new car, I just want to have a hood scoop put in. Like a new couch, I just have it reupholstered. She's a very young human being. I can do whatever I want. Put that man on a list, please. I saw him again quite recently, and he's a stand-up guy now, no pun intended. He didn't rip a single fart the entire afternoon, and he's very kind to his current girlfriend. He even takes her taste into consideration when suggesting an activity. He never did that with me. People can grow and change, but only if they make the effort. Yeah, most people don't. Or they do it much later in life. Like this Jar Jar fellow. It's hard to put the effort in when you're young, you know? Be young, have fun.
Oh yeah, why not? Just do it. Be young, have fun, stay cool.
Back in the hotel lobby, I excused myself from the Dennis-adjacent interaction. As I was leaving, I leaned in and said in a hushed voice to Flo, "Watch your ass with that one. If he's the Denny I'm thinking of." I gave her a look that only another female would be able to read. Her eyes shot up and she nodded. Dennis continued to shift as though he were trying to hold in a massive dump. "Babe!" Flo apparently answered to that moniker as well. "What is it, Denny? Don't worry, this was just some telepathic girl talk. You apparently have a reputation, Dennis." "It's a different Denny. I assure you, I'm a pious, gentle sir."
I am a pious man. No temptation can stray me from the path of God. Count Frollo, there is an extra thick gypsy girl outside with no shoes on.
Oh my god. Even you are ashamed of your own reputation. Let that sink in for a minute. OP says, "Oh, my mistake. Well then, you guys have a good time. They're playing Cole Porter and the band is lovely." Great to see you, Flo. I hugged Flo again, gave Dennis a curt nod, ignored the scent of mandarins and mountain air, and returned to Kirk. I think it's very mature of you to not try and show Dennis up by parading Kirk around. I'm sure he'll clock it soon enough, though. Be like, "Who's that guy that she's here with?" Like, why do you care? You're both here with the different people. Shut up. I collapsed on the shade lounge, exhausted from holding back the rage. I had no right to be mad at Florinda. I hadn't seen her in over 2 years. How was she supposed to know that I had had a thing with Dennis? Hell, I couldn't even be mad at Dennis because the last time he and I had spoken in any meaningful way, I'd told him that I was no longer entertaining my crush on him. So why was I so bothered to see him dating? Hell, he'd probably been dating the entire time we knew each other, but why had he never taken me out on a date like this? And why wasn't I smitten with Kadillac Kirk, who had taken me out on a date like this, was an objectively excellent kisser, and a bona fide baller? What was wrong with me? Oh, shit. And I was dating somebody too. I almost forgot about him. I can understand how all that would make you feel a little raw, but yeah, you don't go with Kirk just because he's got nice things and took you someplace. There's clearly not a genuine connection coming from your end. He's like an older cousin. I don't want to bang my older cousin.
That girl was hot. She's my cousin. She is? Yes, we're all cousins.
Kurt suggested going down the street to a quaint little bar and then sobering up at a diner closer to my apartment. I numbly nodded and followed him in silence for a few blocks. He assured me that I had quote-unquote turned several heads on the way to the new location, but I neither cared nor believed him. This was not the type of numbness that I'd been aiming for. Now I needed to get schnockered. 5 shots of vodka, please. And yes, this time, I was serious. Well, it seems like a night for mistakes. Let's make some magic happen. Kadillac Kirk, my reliable designated driver, ordered only a beer and watched in something between astonishment, concern, and delight as I slammed all 5 shots in rapid succession. Yeah, getting them down's the easy part. Keeping them down's the hard part. But we'll get there. I half expected to immediately retch all over the bar, but I felt fine. I half expected to immediately lose consciousness and wake up in the hospital, but I remained coherent. How I'd managed to take in that much hard liquor and suffer no direct consequences, I'll never know. Perhaps the shots were watered down. Perhaps I was far more intoxicated than I realized. Only bar I knew that never watered down their shots was Rock Bar Fuck Yeah in Yokosuka, Japan. I spent my 21st birthday in there, took a 6-shooter of tequila, threw up all over Shore Patrol's shoes. They wasn't none too happy. But they did let me go, and I went back to the barracks and fell asleep in the bathtub. Didn't even show up to work the next day, like hours late. Oh man. Early 20s, the time for the best decisions. OP says, I think that I wanted to suffer. Yeah, we all do. It's in our nature to destroy ourselves. I wanted to either feel nothing at all, or to feel a sickness bad enough to distract me from the scorching sting that pulsed through my being when I realized that I had lost the abstract notion that I'd been addicted to this entire time. Hope. It wasn't Dennis himself that I couldn't quit. It was that drug called hope. Yeah, you need to quit it with that shit. You've been hoping your entire life. Look where that's got you. It's actually worked out pretty good. The hope that maybe, just maybe, Dennis would give our romance a fair shot. The hope that maybe, just maybe, he would make peace with himself, get his mind off his crotch, and enjoy some agenda-free togetherness. The hope that maybe, just maybe, he would stop bloviating about his admittedly impressive accomplishments for 5 fucking minutes and ask about my life. I had my own reasonably impressive accomplishments, even if they paled in comparison to his. A proper suitor would have permitted my turn to shine, and I know that now. Yep, and that's all part of the learning process. I know it hurts, it sucks, but you'll make it. And you did. But seeing Dennis out with another woman, a woman who had no reason to parade her Dennis escapades before me as some means of revenge, a woman that he was clearly courting of his own volition, yeah, my hope had died. It had died before I'd had time to wean myself off of it. Now I had to mourn the loss of hope, which is a very tricky brand of grief to navigate. Vodka wasn't the answer, but it was what I had to work with. So what'd it have to do? Yeah, we make some stuff happen. Nothing particularly positive, but stuff is happening. After enough time had passed without vomiting or collapsing, I asked Kurt to bring his car around to the bar so that I didn't have to walk 2.5 blocks drunk in heels. He nodded and dramatically leaned in for a kiss. I recoiled. We've been over this. I think we were both a little in the wrong here. I wanted to be able to flirt ostentatiously without suffering the common consequence of sexual expectations, but Kurt knew me. He accepted my weird ways. And he had repeatedly assured me that I could trust him to not get all horned up and inappropriate. I mean, I'd like to say, yeah, he accepted your weird ways, but the logical part of my brain is like, nah, he's waiting for his chance. He saw his moment. Then again, OP initiated. Like, maybe she opened up Pandora's box and now you can't put the monkeys back in or something. Anyway, OP continues, he was supposed to be more refined than that, after all. But, yeah, I really shouldn't have kissed him. Okay. As long as you know and I know and we both know, like, we just don't do that again. It's good, it's normal, it's fine. And really, Kurt should have stuck to his word when it came to being a gentleman. Yes, both of these things. Everybody's wrong here, okay? OP says, dude, I told you, the moment has passed. Kirk, I beg your pardon. I misread your eyes. I thought I saw a green light. OP, it's fine. I just want to go home while I'm still feeling okay. Kirk, of course. Your chariot will be here soon. Yes, m'lady. He skipped off to fetch his Cadillac, and I noticed that the lights in the bar were beginning to dance a little bit. Yeah, here it comes. This should have been concerning. Then I realized I was giggling. Wait, what? Oh, shit. Sure, I was drunk from those shots, but what I was feeling in the moment wasn't drunkery, it was stonery. Kirk probably misread my face because my pupils were dilated, not from desire, but from drug use. Which we at ReddX Industries do not condone in any way. That should be enough to keep this video monetized. Some of you might be thinking that I was a bad friend for not introducing Lucy, an old dude connoisseur, to Kirk. Well, I did. And several years before the events of this story, he adored her. She, on the other hand, thought that he was immature. And she wasn't wrong. Lucy was astute when it came to sussing out a person's true nature. Far more astute than myself. Her initial assessment that Kurt was immature was about to be vindicated. Stretch those cringe muscles. It's almost time for pie. Oh, I've been waiting for it. Lay it on me. I like to think that I'm rather astute as well, but sometimes I do make presumptions. I can be wrong, I'll admit that much. Just like how I doubted myself about Kurt being a creep for just a minute. I somehow managed to get to his car. I honestly don't recall how I got there. Did one of the bartenders carry me? Did some kind patron allow me to lean on him? Had Cadillac Kirk carried me out? I'm not sure, but my memory ceases to be fuzzy about halfway to the 24-hour diner. It might have been the very same 24-hour diner where Mary pulled her shenanigans. Really, I'll never know. Go look in the bathroom. Go check. I need confirmation. Kirk, would you say you're more drunk or stoned? OP, stoned? Definitely stoned. Kirk made some sort of grunty noise and reached for my thigh. I slapped his hand. Kirk, stoned but not amorous? That's rare. I started laughing rather unkindly. You're a fucking horn dog. I thought you were my safe, straight male friend. Damn it. And yeah, that is a rare thing. I guess it can be done, but only if the person is, as Lucy said, exceptionally mature. Kirk, I solemnly swear that your safety's my primary concern, my stoned beauty. I pretended to throw up. Kirk, so you're not Randy, but are you hungry? This diner I'm headed to makes this maple walnut pie with the most sumptuous, sensual cream and an exquisite drizzling of OP. Ew! Stop trying to bang the pie. Are you stoned? Then I remembered the question. Yeah, I am hungry, but I don't like nuts. I'll have banana cream. Kirk made that repulsive grunty noise again.
Cream. Yeah. We'll be there in just a minute.
He was squirming in the driver's seat. What?
Stop! Stop!
You get like this out after only a couple of drinks? Did he take some Spanish fly? He dosed himself? He's gonna start humping the emergency brake? Heard a story like that. Except it was a girl, not a weird dude. But the emergency brake did release and the car rolled down the hill, and I'm pretty sure she died. It's probably just an urban legend. Probably. OP says, gross, dude. If you're gonna be like that, I'll just order hash browns. Get it? Hash? I giggled. You can't make that sound nasty, Kirk.
Forgive my jokes. I think my blood sugar's a bit low.
Uh-oh. Better watch out for Kirk's sugars. As Kirk parked, I began to wonder how I might get away with walking shoeless into the diner. These stilettos had to get off my feet, at least while I was walking, and Kurt was kind enough to give me his socks and wear his loafers island style into the establishment. Wearing oversized socks made it look like I was wearing slouchy ankle booties, as long as you didn't look too close. Okay, that was gallant of him. Maybe he was gonna behave himself for the rest of the evening. Oh no. Don't talk yourself into that. It's only degenerated, and it will only continue to. I wasn't terribly talkative as we sat down, and he expressed a bit of concern for my emotional well-being. I wasn't coherent enough to explain what was happening to my emotions, and I wasn't sure that I trusted him with my deep, dark secrets at that point, so I just shrugged, like a sulky teenager, ran my hands over my messy, wind-blown hair, and mumbled that I was just hungry. And right on cue, a very kind, slightly older waitress with a sweet southern accent stopped by to take our order. Kirk,
Yes, we'll have 2 cups of black coffee, and we'll share a slice of that delectable maple walnut pie.
Despite the fact she said she didn't want any, you're ordering for both of you? God, he really is just a bumbling idiot. He doesn't listen to anything OP says, he's waiting for his turn to talk. Waitress, oh honey, that pie's scrumptious. I take it you've been here before?
Kirk, I have, but this will be her first time to taste the splendor.
I hated to be a killjoy, but I interrupted and said to the waitress, ma'am, I'm sure the maple walnut's excellent, but could I get a slice of banana cream and a big glass of ice water? Waitress, sure, hun. Banana cream's just as yummy. I'll be right back with them coffees and that water. Kirk was sucking on the tip of his forefinger and shaking his head a bit.
You're passing up so many sensational, sensual...
I put my forehead on the table and growled, you swore you'd stop being nasty. I held this hashtag head desk pose for what seemed like quite some time before I finally lifted my head, only to see that Kurt was still sucking his fingertip and staring at me like a wild animal. Please be normal, I whined. It's been a really weird night for me, Kirk.
Indeed, many surprises. You know, you're like titanium. Your flame burns so fast and bright, if a guy doesn't get in there while the iron's hot, he'll never have another chance. I was too slow.
Well, you wanted to fuck her on the dance floor? What? What are you implying here? Regrets are regrets. Let's not dwell. What the? Get in there? Gross. Quite gross. I'm not titanium, I muttered. I'm just not interested in letting anyone get in there. What the hell was up with Kirk that night? He'd never been creepy toward me before, although I'd seen him act like this with other women. I mean, not exactly like this, but yeah, weird. Usually with staggering success. Why? His money. It had to be his money. Kirk was a nice-looking man, but holy shit. No amount of cash or good looks could ever save this creep show. Yeah, maybe if I keep being creepy, then things will turn back around. We'll do a complete 360.
That would mean you're pointing in the same direction still.
It's fine. He doesn't know that. And then our sweet waitress sat down the coffees and my water and the 2 slices of pie. After I gulped down a whole bunch of water, I grabbed a fork, prepared to quell my munchies, and then I froze. Kirk was quickly flicking his finger back and forth across the top of his pie and moaning. What the fuck? In public? What are you doing?
What? No, dude!
I'm gonna get an Uber. Can I get all this to go? He noticed my wide-eyed stare, smirked, sucked the tip of his thumb, picked up the plate with both hands, and began flicking his tongue across the tip of the triangular pie slice, and moaning some more.
Ugh. Well, there went my appetite.
Yeah, get it to go, and I'm just gonna give it to a homeless person. Through the transitive property, this pie is now associated with Kirk, and I never want him inside me ever. Kirk took his middle finger and jabbed it into the crustless vertex of the pie slice, then began pumping it in and out like a piston and flicking his thumb across the increasingly demolished top layer of whipped cream. He gasped this time, and yeah, people were beginning to stare.
Are you watching in the kitchen? Come on, man, we eat it here.
That's some good cringe, dude. Stop that man! What's he doing to that pie? His pointer finger joined his middle finger in the piston action, and then he replaced his thumb with his tongue. I don't think head desk is enough anymore. You put a bullet in me or you let me leave right now. Between flicks of the tongue, he groaned,
Oh yeah, pie. Let me taste you.
But it was kind of hard to understand him. I'd seen Kirk whip out some odd flirtation styles before, but this was the first time I'd ever seen him simulate that on a late night snack. The waitress is just too old and grizzled. Yeah, he comes in here and does that shit every week. just look away. I was either about to run to the back office, tell them I was in danger and needed a police escort home, or I was about to burst out laughing at the spectacle. Being high, I began to laugh. Kirk continued. He removed his fingers and gregariously licked pie filling off of them.
Ah,
He groaned.
I got you sticky and sweet and moist.
And then he plunged his fingertips into his mouth again, switching from middle to pointer, pointer to middle, and emitting a delighted little with every suck. I hate this. This is why you always gotta carry around protection of some sort, a firearm. 2 bullets in it, one for you, one for me. Finally, he jabbed his fingers back into the utterly destroyed pie, lowered his face to the plate, and passionately motorboated the mess, moaning and mumbling,
Oh, come on, yeah. Come on.
You motorboating son of a... You old sailor, you.
I could see the waitress and some dude in a suit marching intently over to the table. I sank down in my seat, partially covered my face, but continued to laugh silently at the absolute train wreck. Tears streaming down my face, sides aching, shoulders bobbing. At last, Kirk shuddered violently as he splatted the palm of his hand onto the plate and rubbed furiously. It's something that I say often, and I'll say it just one more time. Rich people are fucking weird. This is what happens if you get enough money. People don't tell you no anymore. And then your true nature is revealed. And Kirk's true nature, just a highly distracted 5-year-old that wants to hump the mattress a lot. I'm amazed. I'm astonished, actually. Somebody give that guy 2 medals. One for being a fucking idiot, and another one in case he loses the first one, which he will. Then Kirk locked eyes with me, whipped cream stuck to his nose, lips, and eyebrows. He sucked the tip of his thumb one final time and said,
You.
There was a long, dramatic pause, during which Kirk lovingly stroked the mess that he'd made and lecherously raised his whipped cream-covered eyebrows.
You are the pie.
Yeah, I don't hang out with Cadillac Kirk no more. It's the best response. Just after that night cold, nothing. Everything changed. It might have been because of the kiss. Maybe Kirk could have remained normal the whole time. But I don't know. Something does tell me that he was just waiting for his turn. No matter how much cool stuff you buy, you still be a really weird guy. Hey, that rhymes. But OP does want to remind everybody that Cadillac Kirk is still a bachelor. Ladies! Yeah, step right up if you want to get your pie masticated. It's been a wild ride. Took a while to get going, but a climax like that is worth waiting for.
It's so sticky and creamy and moist.
Speaking of, we should put one more song in here, shouldn't we? Pour some sugar on me in the name of love. And with that out of the way, we've reached the end of the video. I'll plug my merch one more time. I'll also say thank you to my Patreon patrons, my wonderful, gorgeous, beautiful YouTube channel members. Thank you guys so much for supporting every single month. It really means the world. It's really keeping us afloat. And yeah, I couldn't do this without you. Even if you can't support monetarily, I mean, you watched the video. What else can I ask truly? Especially if you watched it this far. Thank you so very, very much. I want to remind you before I get out of here that you are loved, you are worthy, you definitely, definitely deserve it, friends, and I shall see you in the next one. So until then, bye-bye.